welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a trip back in time to unpack what has to be one of the most incredibly bizarre events in the entire history of English football. We are talking about the 1946 FA Cup final. Now, I want you to go ahead and forget everything you know about your standard, predictable modern football match, because this game, well, it had absolutely everything. And then some.
So let's dive right into this. Just imagine this scenario for a second. What happens when a major football match features a literally exploding ball, temporary winners' medals, and a single player managing to score for both teams in the space of just 1 minute? Honestly, it sounds like some kind of unrealistic Hollywood sports comedy, but it all actually happened on one spring afternoon. Let's look at one of the most uniquely chaotic matches in British sports history.
All right, setting the stage with Section 1, football returns to Wembley, the post-war comeback.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer madness of what went down on that pitch, we first need to establish the stakes. The previous FA Cup final had taken place way back in 1939. Then, for 7 long years, this beloved tournament went on a forced hiatus because of the Second World War. So you have to realize, this 1946 final wasn't just another game. It marked the grand, triumphant return of the FA Cup to the British public. The anticipation was off the charts.
And the sheer scale of the event was just incredible. A staggering 98,000 people packed themselves into Wembley Stadium. The whole country was watching. That huge, roaring crowd even included King George VI and the Queen, who were right there in person to witness the sport's grand return to the national stage.
The demand to be inside that stadium was absolutely unprecedented. Keep in mind, this was a population starved of major sporting action for almost an entire decade. That deep hunger for the game drove ticket sales to an astonishing £45,000. To put that into perspective, that was a staggering, record-setting amount of money for a football match back in 1946.
Moving on to Section 2, the scoreless stalemate, Derby County versus Charlton Athletic. Stepping onto the pitch were our key protagonists. On one side, you've got Derby County, led by manager Stuart McMillan and captain Jack Nicklaus. On the other side, Charlton Athletic, managed by Jimmy Seed with Don Welsh wearing the captain's armband. Both teams fielded this really exciting mix of youthful energy and seasoned experience. It was a brilliant tactical battle lined up right from the referee's starting whistle.
But despite the grand stage and the deafening roar of those 98,000 fans, the game was a total lockdown for 84 nerve-wracking minutes. Both teams just completely dug their heels in. We're talking deep into the very end of the second half with absolutely 0 goals on the board. The tension in that stadium must have been thick enough to cut with a knife.
Which brings us to Section 3, Bert Turner's chaotic minute, the climax of normal time.
Talk about a dramatic 60-second roller coaster. Okay, so it's the 85th minute. A cross gets punched out by Charlton's goalkeeper Sam Bartram. It falls straight to Derby's Dolly Duncan, who takes a shot. Charlton's Bert Turner frantically tries to kick it clear, but he accidentally deflects the ball straight into his own net. 1-0 to Derby. But wait, literally the very next minute, Charlton gets a free kick. Turner steps up, fires a shot from the edge of the penalty area, and it strikes a Derby player, deflecting right past the Derby goalkeeper, Vic Woodley. Just like that, he equalized at the other end. Pure chaos.
Through this frantic, unbelievable minute, Turner firmly etched his name into the history books. He became the very first player ever to score for both sides in an FA Cup final. It's a quirky record that wouldn't be matched again for decades, until players like Tommy Hutchinson in 1981 and Gary Mabbutt in 1987 managed to do the same thing. And if that wasn't enough, at 36 years and 312 days old, Turner also became the oldest player to score in an FA Cup final.
Let's look at Section 4, the exploding match ball, a bizarre plot twist.
Now, just when you thought the final minutes of this match couldn't possibly get any weirder, as normal time was drawing to a close, Derby's center forward Jackie Stamps struck the ball hard, aiming for a dramatic late winner. But en route to the goal, the heavy leather match ball actually burst in midair. You heard that right. It just popped right before it could reach the net.
And amazingly, this wasn't even an isolated incident. Talk about déjà vu. As it turns out, the ball had also burst just a week prior when Derby and Charlton faced off against each other in league play. Honestly, you really couldn't write this stuff if you tried. What are the odds?
Finally, Section 5, extra time and bronze medals, the resolution. With the game tied at 1-1 and the match ball quite literally destroyed, they had to bring out a brand new ball for extra time. And once that fresh ball was in play, Derby County just completely dominated the extra period. In the 92nd minute, Peter Doherty found the back of the net. Then, Jackie Stamps, the exact same guy who popped the ball earlier, scores twice with the new ball in the 97th and 106th minutes. Derby stormed ahead to secure a resounding 4-1 victory.
But the fascinating post-war realities of 1946 caught up with everyone again at the trophy presentation. Because of a severe national gold shortage following the Second World War, the players weren't given the traditional gold medals on the day. Instead, both the winners and the runners-up were handed temporary bronze medals. The proper gold versions had to be minted and awarded to the players much later that year when gold finally became more readily available. What an absolutely spectacular journey! This 4-1 win marked Derby County's first, and this very day, their one and only FA Cup triumph in history. It was a golden era for the club, remembered warmly for decades by their last surviving player from the game, Raich Carter, who actually lived to tell the tale until his passing in September 2020 at the incredible age of 97. So, looking back at the exploding leather ball, the temporary bronze medals, and Bert Turner's absolutely chaotic 60 seconds, you really have to wonder. In today's era of hyper-analyzed, perfectly sanitized modern sports, will we ever see this kind of beautifully bizarre chaos again? Or did the true, unscripted magic of the FA Cup peak on that strange afternoon in 1946? Something to think about next time you tune into a final. Thanks so much for exploring this amazing piece of history with me today.